Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and Lancaster Fairfield Community Action Recycling and Litter Prevention.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson, your host. A little bit different setting today. We're not in the friendly confines of the Fairfield Federal downtown, but we're out on the road and we've got a different but very informative show for you today. Today we're going to be talking about home weatherization, things that can be done to benefit the homeowner at a decreased cost in some situations, so we're anxious to hear about all this. We're here on Mount Ida Avenue today here in Lancaster, Ohio, and we're with Scott Porter. Scott is the Energy Outreach Director for Community Action. And Scott, welcome today.
Thank you. Glad you can make it. Like you said, my name's Scott Porter. I'm the Energy Outreach Director at Lancaster Fairfield Community Action, and today we're trying to showcase our home weatherization program.
So what are we looking at here? We can turn around and we can look at this. What are we looking at? We've got this gentleman here that's not doing anything right now because of some weather conditions, but what are we looking at that will be done?
Well, anytime we disturb an area where we suspect that there's the potential for lead-based paint, we have to do it in a lead-safe manner. Okay. So this is kind of what it would look like. He's going to be disturbing behind the, you can see we popped off the vinyl siding. There is wood siding that has what we suspect is lead-based paint. So we're going to do it in a lead-safe manner to protect the surrounding area. And as you can see, the gentleman that's actually going to be doing the work. So that's why this setup is here. Is
a home that's suspected to have lead-based paint certain years you can anticipate that would be true?
Yeah, any building prior to 1978, we're gonna suspect that there's lead-based paint there. And the older it is, of course, sure, the more sure we are about it.
So if a homeowner suspects that might be the case with them, what should they be doing?
Well, they need to make sure while we're here working that they keep the windows shut, things like that. We talk to the neighbors to let them know what we're doing. The dust is going to be contained in here. If it's an exceptionally windy, we're not going to do it. When it's calm like it is right now, that's the best time to do it. And
has this homeowner then, did they apply for this? Is this something they said, come and look at it, and if it is, then there's a process?
She did. She applied for the Home Weatherization Assistance Program. There's an application that has to be filled out. You have to be income eligible. It's 200% of the poverty guidelines. So, for example, a family of 4 could not make over $49,200 in the past 12 months. We have a very long wait list. I believe this lady was on the wait list probably for about 3-4 years before we could get here.
So, again, we're looking at what we'll be doing, like insulation, drilling into the wood and then blowing something in.
Yes, that's what they would do. In each cavity, they would be drilling a hole. I believe they're like 2 1/8 size hole, and then they actually will tube up into that cavity to get the insulation packed in there. And then when this is all done, they'll go through and put the siding back on. And used to be in the past, you could drive by a house and you could see the holes.
Sure, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Back mostly it was insulation in those days. They were putting insulation in.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing here, but you won't see the holes. We don't drill in any outside sidings, so there's no holes that you can see that will actually be covered up.
Now they'll be doing this all around the house?
Yes. Yeah, they'll go all the way around the house. And like I say, they'll run the hose up into the wall cavity and then down to make sure they get a nice pack in there.
What would be on a home? This is a 1-story, probably 2-3 bedroom home here on Mount Ida. What's the length of time if you got started and everything went well?
Yeah, if everything went well, the weather and everything, it could probably be anywhere from 3 to 4 days. Okay. Yeah, to get to do the full weatherization.
So again, this person applied a while ago to get in this program. So if somebody wants to get in that queue and wants to do this, what would be their procedure?
Well, filling out the application is the most important thing. Get that filled out, attach all the documentation that's required for that application, such as proof of income, proof of ownership. Now, we can also do rental properties, so you don't necessarily have to own the home, and then copies of the electric and heating bills and Social Security cards is all we need to get the application and get the process started.
All right, we've got 4 or 5 different things that we're going to look at today in terms of home weatherization. This is just one aspect of it. So are we going to move inside the house now and take a look?
Yes, now we're going to move inside. We have another area that we can focus on as well.
All right, I'm with Scott Porter. Scott is the Energy Outreach Director for Community Action. Home weatherization is what we're talking about today. We'll take a break, and we're going to be right back and inside the home and talk some more home weatherization. Well, we've moved a little bit from a really beautiful morning outside to inside the home here on Mount Ida Avenue. We're back with Scott Porter, and we've got a bunch of things to look at here, several of them inside the home, and that's where we are now. Scott, what will we be looking at here?
Well, here we're looking at ASHRAE exhaust fan that Department of Energy mandates that we put in the homes that we weatherize. And this fan will act as a whole house fan, and it will improve indoor air quality of the home.
And I was talking before we came on. I walked in there and I said something to one of your guys here about this, and what's this do? And he was explaining. He says it's on now. I mean, you can't even hear it.
They're very quiet. They have to be 1 zone or less on a new one. Now, if we retrofit an existing exhaust fan, it's 3 zones or less. So they are very quiet. You really can't even hear. You know, sometimes we even have to put like a tissue up there to see if it's even running.
And then he says if someone comes in the room, there's a motion sensor or something that it ramps up a little increased movement.
Correct, and that'll actually activate it, and it will run at a higher CFM 50 for a certain setting, and that's what he's doing right now.
All right, we're talking with Scott Porter. We're talking home weatherization. Community action is involved here. We've got several things to look at. We'll move around the house and look at another piece of the puzzle here in just a moment. We're still on Mount Ida Avenue. We're still inside the home here, and we've got another component of what we saw outside where they were doing some pulling out, putting in some insulation in the walls, and now we're inside looking at, again, another component of what's needed here. And Scott, what will we be looking at here?
Well, this is what we call the infrared camera, so this is thermography. And this is going to help us locate wall cavities that have voids in the insulation, which is very important to find to keep moisture and mold situations under control.
Who's the gentleman here that's going to be doing all this?
This is our senior inspector, Richard Throckmorton.
Okay.
And he'll be doing the test today.
All right, Richard, I'm going to move over to you a little closer here. Aaron's going to move in with us. And as you scan the wall here, and we'll be looking at your screen, what will we be seeing?
What I'm doing is I'm looking to see if the cavities have insulation in them now, or do we need to insulate the walls? And what I'm doing is you can see the collar is dark gray. Right. And as I come across the window, because this has insulation in it now, we put insulation in it. When you move over here, you'll see the window has a lighter color. Right. Now, if I went to the wall cavity next to it and it didn't have insulation in it, you would also see that it would not have insulation in there. Yeah. Because you would see the same heat you're seeing from the window. Okay. And now we get over to the wall and it's a darker color. Okay. You have a temperature range of about 5 to 15 degrees. If the house is 15 degrees warmer or cooler inside than outside, your thermography shows up better. And in this particular house, there's a window in the back here.
Yeah, go ahead and turn around there and we can look at that.
We picked up on the wall because there's 2 different insulations in the wall. I'm going to say this is fiberglass insulation, maybe a lighter weight R value than in the other cavities because you have a different shade of color, which means you've got heavier insulation in those colors. And the areas like if they're really light in color, like Scott had mentioned, that you'll have a moisture can get in there. So you have air movement in there. That's why we want to blow all these areas. So you will remove that moisture or that air pocket in there. So you'll have a good insulation value.
Very good. Scott, come on back in here a second. And it sounds like when somebody gets in on this program and they finally get out of the queue and you're working on it, it sounds like pretty comprehensive things going on at a home. It can be if they go to use all the factors you can deliver.
It is. It's very comprehensive. There's a lot of health and safety issues that most people don't think about. They think about a weatherization program. You come out, you put insulation in the house, you're done.
Sure.
There's a lot of health and safety.
Give them
Yes,
air conditioner.
exactly. Yeah. Well. So the exhaust fan, I mean, that's indoor air quality. Once we tighten up the house, it's very important to be able to pull in some fresh air from outside. Very little, but enough that would help keep the indoor air quality at a good quality. And then this, of course, the thermography that we're doing here is going to help with any moisture or mold situations.
Very good. Richard, thanks for your knowledge there. We appreciate it. Scott, we've got some more pieces of this puzzle to work through, and we'll be back to show you more. Our home weatherization tour of Mount Ida Avenue continues, and we're in the sort of the back part of the home now. We've been in one of the bedrooms, been in the bathroom, look at what they're doing in there, been outside. Now we're toward the back of the home where there's a back door, and there's a big fan in the door, but it's much more complicated than just a big fan, right?
It is. It's very complicated. And what this is the Minneapolis blower door. We have to do one on every initial inspection. We do this Minneapolis blower door. It helps us to locate air leakage throughout the house, and then during the work, the contractor actually has to do this every day. At the end of every day, they actually have to do this.
Kind of
and
before and after.
Yeah, well, if there's combustion appliances, like a furnace, water heater, they have to make sure they didn't get the house too tight, and these appliances start backdrafting.
Okay.
So they, all this has to be done with that, and then worst case draft, which is another component. And then on a final, we do one as well.
All right, I'm going to go back to Richard Throckmorton here. And Richard, what are we going to be looking at? You see the fan in the door. You got a nice gadget up here, which looks like it'll have a readout. What are we looking at, and what will we be seeing?
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'll try to achieve to get this house to 50 CFM. All right, and then what I do is I will take the cover off the fan. And then I will adjust the fan up, turn it on. And we'll watch these numbers go up, and we try to get this to 50 pascals.
And that proves what?
And what that does is telling me how big of a hole is in the house. Is there a hole the size of this, or is the size 5 of this books?
Okay.
Then you change the gauge over to this side, and it says the house is 50 over 31. And those numbers we put into a handheld computer, and it'll tell us how big a hole the house has in it currently. And what they do as they seal the house up, it will bring these numbers down and tighten the house up. And that's why you use this to guide you through your work process, to know how tight you're getting the house. Like Scott said, you can't get the house too tight now because we have an ASHRAE fan. Before we had what we call BTLs, and you just brought it down to those BTL limits. So the fan was really crucial. It still is crucial to everything we do.
And the way Scott was explaining to me, when you're working on the home in the morning, in the afternoon, or before they leave, you run this test every day.
Every day to see how tight you got the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're working. We're at a 29 number now. What would be the ideal number here for that?
That could be the ideal number for it. It'll change as they tighten the house up.
Right.
And then at one point, if this comes down to 25, then you actually take this cover and you take the ring out of it, the center, and it changed from a smaller opening, from an open ring to a ring A. And then you go back through the same process of checking for at 50 pascals to see where you're at then, and you gain your numbers once again by including them into the handheld computer.
You got a lot going on here, Richard.
Yeah, there sure is. Yeah. Yep.
Pretty complicated process. I'm glad you're here to explain this.
Thank you.
All right. Scott, busy time here with all these components you've got in every part of the home. Something's going on.
It is. And all of it's important. Like I said earlier, you think weatherization. You think you're going to go out and just put insulation in the house and you're done. Doesn't work that way. There's a whole lot of components. Health and safety is our first concern, and we just really have to watch and be careful what we're doing. End result, happy customer. They're saving on their energy bill, and they're more comfortable, and that's kind of our goal.
Very good, Scott. We're going to make another move. We'll be back. Our home weatherization tour continues, and Scott, we've moved from the bathroom, outside, to the bedroom. Now we're in the kitchen, and we're going to be looking at some appliances and lighting needs here, and sort of another end of your program that you run.
Yeah, so what we like to do, if we're going to go out and we're going to do, the home weatherization assistance program, we always try to find other funding sources that we can combo with the HWAP program. So what Jared's going to explain to you is we have a EPP program, which is the Electric Partnership Program, and it will do base load measures, so electrical measures, such as appliance and lighting.
Okay, very good. And I got with me Jared Redding. Jared is the energy auditor. Am I close?
Yep, you got it.
Very good. And we can see some of this. I can see it better with the lights and the refrigerator, but you've made some changes in this kitchen to increase efficiency. I guess that's where we're headed. And then there's also a way of, showing us numbers that is occurring, right?
Yes. One of the first things we'll do is come out to the house, talk to you about your electrical usage, what you have appliance-wise, how you use it, give you some tips, ideas on how to reduce that. We'll hook up this little meter right here, and what it does is this hooks up to the refrigerator. We can hook it up to any electrical appliance, but we hook it up to the refrigerator, and we see how many kilowatt hours you're using. In this case, hers came back that it was a high energy usage refrigerator. So through the
That's probably an older one. That was what that indicates.
Yep. It was an older one that seals might have been bad, that sort of thing. Compressor was working hard. And we were able to replace it with a new Energy Star rated one through the EPP program. So that's one of the things we did here. This is actually her new refrigerator that she has recently got. With that, one of the other things, if you look up here, lighting wise, she uses these lights multiple hours a day. So it came back to be energy efficient or cost effective to replace them with new energy efficient bulbs. We have 4 in here. Each of these are using 9 watts of electricity. Before, she had 4 of them that each one was using 40 watts. So we replaced 4 bulbs, and all 4 of those are using less than 1 that she had prior.
And then there's another fixture in kind of the same situation there.
Yes.
Everything you replace is energy efficient as opposed to just regular light bulbs.
You got it. Yep. The old incandescent bulbs are pretty much on their way out if they're not out already. We've got CFL bulbs that we installed here. Sometimes we also go with LED bulbs as well. So we get rid of the old incandescent, and we actually have to remove them, get them completely disabled, and install these new ones. They want to know that it is no longer able to be used.
So we've talked about a refrigerator. We talked about lights. If you had a home that had maximum ability to everything be replaced, what else would you be looking at? Anything?
Well, as far as replacements, refrigerators, freezers, light bulbs. Other than that, as far as tips, some of the big things are hot water, electric hot water tanks. You don't realize just how much you're wasting with a hot water tank. The idea there is we want to stay between 120, 125 degrees. Anything above that, you can't stand to have the water temperature hit your, when it's that high, hit your skin. So you end up paying to heat it up. And then you turn around and turn the cold water on.
Because it's just up and down, right?
Exactly. To then pay, you have to pay to cool it back down.
Okay.
So that's a big thing. We'll talk to them and we'll actually test the water, see how hot it is. And if it comes back higher than 125, if they're willing, we'll go ahead and turn it down, save them a little bit there. Between showers, washing your hands, doing dishes, you use a lot of hot water, and that's a big energy saver to turn your hot water tank down.
Okay, a minute of personal privilege here. I have an all-electric home. Mm-hmm. My house, all electric water heater. I've debated for a long time to go to one of these, and you would know the name of it, the quick tankless water heater. That's it.
Water, yes.
And I've heard other people, not in your position, but other plumber and people type say, you'll never get your money back out of that. Would you say that's true or not? Well, there's 2 people in the house. We hardly ever use it. I mean, it isn't up and down for us all the time.
Well, if everything's the same and you're looking between the two, then tankless is the way to go. The hard part about that is if you're retrofitting,
Yeah.
you have tankless uses electric-wise generally about 150 amps.
Have to redo
most
the box,
exactly.
right.
Most houses are not made to be able to handle that. So then you have to redo the box. Then you have to upgrade your electric.
How long will it take to recoup that?
Then you're not going to get that back.
Sure.
Exactly. But if all things are the same, yes, a tankless is going to be much more efficient than a 40, 60.
And I see
gallon
much
water
more
tank.
competition out there. There used to be only one, but now you can go anywhere and see brands.
Yes, prices come down drastically since there were one or two brands making it. Now you've got many more. And
I was looking at her refrigerator. Do you get different sizes refrigerators based on whatever this person's needs would be?
So when I hook the meter up, it comes back with a number, how many kilowatt hours we're using. So we've got to go back. There's a calculation in the software system that we use that says, okay, for a 15 cubic foot, yes, that is able to be replaced. Sometimes we might have one where they have a larger. Most of the time, we are able to replace size for size. Every once in a while, it might come back that, hey, you've got a 26 cubic foot. It's not cost effective for us to replace it with another 26 cubic foot, but it is using enough electric that we could replace it with a 21 cubic foot.
And the person would make that call?
Yes. Yep. So yeah, we have many options from 15 cubic foot all the way up to 26, depending on what they have.
Sure.
And if it comes back as cost effective to replace exactly what they have, then we replace it with the same exact thing.
Very good. Jared, thank you for your information. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Scott, you got some good people working here. They know what they're doing.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm very proud of them, and they're excellent at what they do. They're well trained, and you can see it.
What's left for us? We have a water tank. Do we have a water heater to look at or something else or no?
Yeah, if time permitting, we installed a new water heater, electric water heater. Once again, I said earlier about combining other funds. That water heater was installed using a housing assistance grant. So
under the same theory that
yes,
it's going to save money for the
yes,
homeowner.
exactly.
And I guess that's the end game here is what can you do based on your programs that you can work with, you can deal with, and will save this homeowner money.
It is. You want to make sure that the house is safe and efficient. Safety comes first. You always want to, look at those health and safety components, take care of those, work on that energy efficiency, and then the homeowners are usually very happy and very comfortable.
Very good. Our road trip will continue in just a moment. Well, we're going to be wrapping up our tour of this Mount Ida home here. Scott is back with us today, and my golly, I had no idea what we're going to be looking at today. This is really a comprehensive look at a home and what you can do to increase efficiency. It's amazing.
It is. It's very comprehensive. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I just get amazed at all the steps and the process that we go through, once again, to make sure that health and safety issues and the comfort and the savings for the homeowner is our goal, and it's just it's a great program.
We got a picture here of the hot water tank. Went downstairs and looked at that. New one in there too, right?
Yeah, that's a new water heater, and as I mentioned earlier, that we always try to find other funding sources to help kind of spread the money to last longer in the program. So that water heater was replaced by a housing grant that we have. Mm-hmm. It's an electric water heater. They actually added, as you can see in the picture, they added some more insulation to it. We actually shoot them out of the way because they're not quite done with it. But adding more insulation to that can save anywhere from 6 to 13% on energy savings. So it's very beneficial to do that.
Well, it's been a great tour here. Again, Scott Porter with Community Action Energy Outreach Director. Again, great job. We appreciate the tour today, and thanks for you and allowing us kind of peek in on what you do. And we hope more. I guess we want more people to apply for this. That's the end game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The folks that see this, if you're interested, call out to Community Action 740-653-4146. Ask for me, Scott Porter. Any questions that you might have, and we can get you an application and get you signed up for the program.
That'd be the best way. Call out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they could call out if they're going to be out there for any other services. They can ask out on East Main Street. Yes, and like I say, if they're there for another service or in the area, just stop in and we'll get them on the list.
Very good, Scott. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Now we've got a real bonus here. We've got the young lady that owns this home on Mount Ida Avenue. We're with Ethel Mugg. Ethel, thank you for joining us, and You have a lovely home here, and I guess it's going to be energy efficient when everything's done.
Yes, thank you. It will be. I'm so happy.
Now, did you once upon a time you just made application like Scott just explained? You applied for it, and then you just kind of had to wait your turn till this day came.
Yes, I did. I waited quite a while, but to me it was really worth it because now look what I've got in the long run. It'll be warm this winter. My bill will be down, and I have to watch that quite a bit.
With Ethel Mugg, and Ethel is the homeowner here on Mount Ida Avenue. And one thing I noticed that I was moving around here, and again, we've been in the front, we've been outside, in the basement, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, but I see they put things down to walk on. They've got footies on their clothing. It looks like they've done as much as they can do to make the mess very minimal.
The guys are very respectful that way. I don't even worry about that. They clean up their messes. In fact, you can't even tell they've been here. They're that great.
And I know they actually kind of tweaked a few things that weren't on the list.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Like my air conditioning unit outside, I had to have a new motor put in by somebody else, and it wasn't right. It was leaning over, and so they fixed that for me, and that would have been a cost that I would have had to have done on my own, which is kind of hard when you're limited income.
And I'd guess at this point you'd, as Scott indicated, suggest to anyone who thinks they might benefit from this program to just get their application, get their name in, because it's going to be worth it. In your mind, you'll think you'll see some real benefits.
Yes, they will have great benefits. They get up and they just go out and sign up. They won't know how lucky they really are.
Ethel Mugg on Mount Ida Avenue, thank you for the tour of your home. You have a lovely home, and it's going to be even much more lovely when the decreased bills start coming in this winter. You're looking forward to that, I bet, huh?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Very good, very good. Thanks for giving us the tour of your home. This has been our Community Action Program. Scott Porter was our host today. The Home Weatherization Program, just contact Community Action out there to get your name in the queue, get in the line here to get this done. It could be very beneficial to you and your family to have all these things done, some of them or all of them, depending on what your needs are. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and Lancaster Fairfield Community Action Recycling and Litter Prevention.